Hello. Welcome back, everyone, to Higher and Beyond podcast. This is the place for us to learn about personal development, personal growth, and self improvement. Yes, finally, I have another guest speaker that very inspiring. I can tell, and I've known her for quite 1 or 2 years back. And yes, I'm gonna welcome Elaine Malan. Hey, Elaine.
Hi, Uni. Thank you so much for the introduction and thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, good to be
Yeah,
here.
yeah. So, guys, for all of you who doesn't know who is Elaine Malan, so I'm going to introduce who is Elaine. So it's amazing because Elaine is one of my inspiration in the personal development journey, personally for me, and of course professionally. So Elaine is an agile mindset and life coach with background as NLP and modern applied psychology. She is best known for her work in neurodiversity as the founder of EquiMindHub, which has sparked her passion for agile. She is the author of Neurodiversity, Identify with a Different Way of Thinking, and her next venture is book on an agile mindset. Wow, Ellen, you published 2 books already,
I'm busy writing the second one, so I haven't
right?
published two yet. I'm busy writing the second one, and it's following the book Neurodiversity Identify with a Different Way of Thinking.
Hmm. And then you have another book that you are working now, which is the third one. Am I
No,
right?
no, no. No, I'm working on the second one. The second one that I'm working on
Okay.
is about agile, a way of being.
Right. Hmm. Interesting one. I'm going to. I'm curious about the neurodiversity and what is the book about and stuff like that. You're now busy writing your second book, which is amazing. That's why I can see how busy you are. But talking about agile mindset, which is our topic today. So I'm really curious. I personally, honestly, I'm not really familiar with that. I know it, but I don't really know deeper level about what does that agile mindset about, right? So can you explain your understanding of agile principles and methodologies and how they differ from traditional project management approaches?
Okay, so it's very interesting. I've been a stay-at-home mom for a couple of years. I lived in South Africa, and the idea was that I got married, we're going to start a family. After a few years, I would go back to my career, which was in sales and marketing. And then life threw us one big curveball, and my youngest son was diagnosed with severe autism. And life as we knew it just changed. Everything around us changed. It was chaos. And from that moment onwards, everything was chaos. And what I did is we went through lots of different trials. We had different plans, different ways of doing things. And at the end of the day, I realized that the conventional plans, the way society or the way I thought was going to work for my family and for my son, the traditional way of doing things, it was not going to work. I realized for me to make this work, I need to change and I need to be able to adapt to change. And in those moments, I realized that I had such a stubborn way of thinking and I needed to change the way I think. And I mean, time passed on, and the whole way we approached the neurodiversity was in an agile way. I didn't knew it at that stage, but we were constantly adapting to change. So we realized the best way to deal with this chaotic situation is look at where we are exactly right now, try something, take a risk, if and then get feedback. Is this working? Is this not working? If it is working, great, we continue. If it's not working, okay, what are the other options that we have? And that is how we progressed. And it was an amazing journey for me because I then realized being in chaos is fantastic. Because if my life is in chaos, it means that I'm growing. So it was less structure. I was adapting to change constantly, trying new things, and this helped me to grow. And a few years later, we moved to the Netherlands, and I came across Agile, and it's a project management tool that is used in software companies or in HR departments. But as I was going through this Agile, I realized, but this is how I've been living my life. And I realized that a growth mindset with Agile, if we combine them, it's a way to get things done in life. It's a way to progress and to get the results that you want. And that's why I'm combining having a growth mindset and a flexible mindset with agile.
Hmm. So combine the growth mindset with agile.
Yes.
Wow, it's a very inspiring story that you just shared to us today about being chaos is an amazing thing because for you the chaos actually bring you into the higher self of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and before we are moving into another thing that related with agile, I'm curious, is that possible for everyone who are in the chaos? They actually realize that their life is going to be good after that because this means a process for them to growing up as a person to be mature.
Yes. I mean, having a growth mindset is directly linked to maturity. So the more we grow in maturity, the more flexible our mindset is going to become. So the more fixed our mindset is, um, that is a sign of being immature. So if you want to grow as a person, it is it is incredibly important to have a growth mindset. That is where it all begins. So when you find yourself in a situation where you feel it's chaotic and uncomfortable, um, it's a good time to question yourself about how flexible your mindset really is.
Mm, right. It is possible for all of us to grow when we are in the chaos situation, but this is only for people who has the growth mindset. But if you are the people who are in the fixed mindset, we have to question yourself
Yep.
what kind of mindset that you would like to use to bring you into the maturity.
That's true. And I mean, a way to know if you are in a fixed mindset is the way you communicate with yourself. Do you give up
Okay.
easily? Is it easy for you to just give up and say, oh, no, this is too hard. I'm not going to do this? Or you think that talent and intelligence is fixed. So you are either you are either intelligent or you're not. You are either talented or you're not. And that is fixed because in actuality, anything can be learned. If you want to be great at something, you can really work hard and get to where you want to be. It's about working for what you want. So, another way of questioning yourself to know if you have a fixed mindset um, is if you are threatened by the success of others. So, when you see other people succeeding or you see that they're doing well in life, this makes you feel uneasy.
Oh, It sounds like this is kind of comparison ourselves to the successful people.
Yes, exactly. So when you find yourself comparing yourself to other people and you put yourself down because of other people's success,
Hmm,
that is, it's a sign of a fixed mindset.
interesting one. So again, to go into the growth mindset, we have to be aware of ourselves first, right?
Yes, yes.
Ah, okay. What about this is really interesting. And now, going back to Agile Coach, what experience do you have in Agile coaching? And what success have you achieved in helping your team or organization?
Okay. So at this stage, what I'm doing with Agile is um, I'm using the Agile framework for people in their personal life, so people who want to start up a business, um, also people that or families. So using the Agile methodology in your everyday life. So if you find yourself in a position where you're not getting things done, or you want to start a business and everything seems like chaos, I come in with the Agile framework and we work together to get you into an agile mindset so that you are able to face your challenges and get things done.
Hmm. Wow. So it sounds like agile mindset is also one powerful strategies to help individual in here.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Um, for me, the biggest success that I have experienced with the Agile framework is in my family home. The way we do things, the way we go about our everyday life, and planning. Um, so, I mean, for us, I don't know what it's like for you, but my everyday life is quite chaotic. Waking up, making sure that everybody is fed, that there's so many things that needs to be done, and to make sure that everything happens um, effectively and that everybody is taken into consideration. So that is how I implement this framework into everyday life.
Hmm. Which is agile mindset. It's also good start when you practice doing it for your own family before we actually help other people out there.
Yes.
Right. Um, Ellen, I'm curious about where did you get this idea to focus on your um, family before you help others using this framework in agile mindset?
So when I started with my journey as a neurodiverse coach with autism and ADHD, I didn't realize that I was doing it with as the agile framework. And as I went along during my journey as a mother, and I came to the stage where I am right now, doing a little bit of coaching, working with young professionals, I realized that what I've been doing all along is the agile mindset, and that this methodology is out there helping companies to thrive and to get things done. And we can use this in our everyday life to get things done. One day I was just busy reading. Actually, my husband is a software engineer, and he said to me, take a look at agile and see how it resonates with what it is that you've been doing. And I went through the Agile Manifesto, and all of a sudden, everything just clicked. It was just like one of those aha moments for me. And I realized this is what people need. If you want to get things done, if you feel your life is in chaos, here is a way to thrive within the chaos and solve problems in with a flexible mindset.
Wow, it was like one of the biggest support also in your coaching journey. Building your business is your husband. That's why you found the aha moment. This is what you've been doing now, along the way, and then finally, here you go, aha moment.
Yes, it just fell into place.
Hmm. I can tell it's best support ever, right?
Yeah, and I mean, support's great and hard work, a lot and lots and lots of hard work. That's
Hmm.
the best thing for me about, I won't say, I'm not going to say that I'm completely in a growth mindset because there's always opportunity for growth. And for me, myself, I realized that I had a very fixed mindset, and it's something that I'm constantly working on. And for me, when I work with clients, it's the most important thing that I focus on is creating a growth mindset, that agile, flexible way of thinking, so that when you navigate through life, it's just easier to adapt to change.
Wow, that's one. And again, I was still thinking about neurodiversity. It's the identify with a different way of thinking. In that book, where we can get the book. For all of us who's watching this video today, if we want to read the book that you just publish, or you write, the neurodiversity, where we can get that book.
It will be on available on Amazon soon. Just give it another maybe month or
Oh,
two.
okay,
Yes,
okay.
yes, it is finished. So I'm just busy putting the last pieces together and hope, yeah, it will be published within a month or two.
Wow, this is it make me even curious, because I'm waiting for that to be there. Wow. Okay. Um, Identify the different way of thinking. Um, I can tell in this society, especially, right? This new era. I can tell that every person has different way of thinking too. And then in the book that you have, um, could you tell us a little bit, the meaning of, or what is the message that you're trying to tell to other people about neurodiversity?
So neurodiversity is very close to my heart. I am ADHD, and I've got a son with ADHD. I've got a son with severe autism. So neurodiversity is a part of my, it's just been forever there for me. I came across the term neurodiversity not so long ago, and it was one of those aha moments, another one for me when I realized that the whole way we view people with dyslexia or ADHD or autism is changing. It's not it's not being seen as a label or that there's something wrong with the person or that they need to be fixed. It's realizing that they just think differently. They just process information in a different way. And this whole idea about neurodiversity is encouraging these people to be themselves because they have so many strengths, so many unique talents that they can bring to the world. And unfortunately, these labels have not always been communicated in a very positive way. So the book is about focusing on the strengths and what it is that neurodiversity could add to society, to companies, and how it is an opportunity for all of us to grow and experience that what is different, accepting that what is different.
Wow. It means, some people are afraid, about the this kind of diagnose. I, I,
Yes,
I, I must say, I personally,
yes.
like, what does that mean for me, right? And then you were talking about use it as a strength for you to be who you are
Yes.
as a person.
Yes.
Okay. And then it's how do you want to encourage people out there who have who has the same uh, diagnose with you HDB, for example, right? Yeah, that one, right? Okay.
Yes.
How do you want to encourage people who has this diagnosis, die, whatever, right? Please share it to us.
So
Encourage. How can you encourage them?
for me personally, being ADHD, I mean, I wasn't diagnosed until very late in my life. And I remember that I always felt a sense of loneliness, like I don't really belong in the world. The way I was just different. I felt like I didn't belong. I just felt different. And I realize now, after I've been diagnosed and I did a lot of research on ADHD, that it is because of the way I think and the way I process information. And there are other people out there like me, I just didn't realize it. So it's about acceptance and accepting yourself and coming to realize that with what makes you different, there's a lot of strengths in there. And when you focus on them, you can make a difference in the world. You can really contribute to society. And even though it has its strengths, there are challenges and there are ways to find support for your challenges so that you can navigate through life in a positive and growing way.
Hmm. There will be acceptance first of all, right?
Yeah.
And the more you accept that, the more you find yourself, even though you are different, but you have the unique within yourself that you can show to the world.
Yes. And there's a lot of clients that I've worked with, and they've never been diagnosed as such. But it's clear that feeling of being different and not fitting into society is there. And then we work on self-acceptance. And you can imagine for somebody that has gone through life feeling that they're different, not understanding why, there's a lot of healing that needs to take place. And so there's a lot of work that we do on self-acceptance.
How hard do you actually help the clients to realize that self acceptance is very important for such as kind of client like this?
If I go back to that to the whole way of the agile mindset, that is when we start, that is where we want to end up. We want to end up with an agile and a flexible mindset. But for us to get there, we need to face what is in the past, and there's a lot of hurt, um, and a lot of uh, limiting beliefs around who we are and what we have encountered. So working through that and bringing that up and allowing to feel, that is how we get to self-acceptance. For me, it's the most important thing to create the space for my clients to be able to feel through those emotions and to get in touch with who they are, um, because basically they help themselves. I'm just there to create the space for them.
Create the space for themselves, which is nowadays there are a lot of distraction that keep us busy, and then many of us are kind of forget about how to take care of ourselves and create a space for us. And how can you remind to your clients to take a space and create space for themselves instead of doing, or doing busy life, because this is, a responsibility for many people. It's either because of work, family, or anything kind of, busyness.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and that's why I love having an agile framework when I work with my clients. So what we do is we break things down into smaller pieces, and we start focusing on what it is that's important that we have to do right now. What are the things that can wait? And we just take small steps. And what I do is I just guide them through the smaller steps. And with each step, we see what there is that's holding us back, what is going well, what is not going well. So there's constant feedback about what's happening in their lives. And as we do that, we are able to see, but hey, I've got options. Hey, it's okay to take risks. And it also helps with time management to make sure that there's enough space to live life, to make time for themselves and just to recuperate. And that's why I love the agile frameworks so much.
Wow. And he's coming back to the agile mindset framework. And then what about this? How do you assess the readiness for the team or for this person or client to adopt agile practice?
We start small. We see what we've got, where we are at, and we assess it where we are. And then it depends on the client, of course. What steps are you willing to take? Having a little bit of a blurry vision of where you want to go is fine because we don't have a straightforward structured plan. Life doesn't work that way. Life is chaos.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
we assess where we are right now, look at what we've got, and then we have a blurry vision of where we want to be in the future, and then we take the first step. And with each step that we take, we assess and we adjust, and that's how we move forward.
It's how actually, small step is very powerful to start doing things,
Yep.
because sometimes we are, as a person, we're not aware how to start to take a small step. We rather focusing on, I'm gonna take this big step first to start anything. And then this is usually for someone who doesn't have a guidance. And here's the thing, right? For all of you who's watching, I think it's also important, to get help from the professional.
Yes. That is part of having a growth mindset is being able to ask for help, to reach out and say, listen, I can't do this on my own. And that's okay. So, yes, being able to ask for help is part of developing a growth mindset.
How about the people who doesn't want to get help because the reason why shyness or insecurity or anything that actually is stopping them to get help from others?
So, those are the signs that you have a fixed mindset. And I mean, you're going to be stuck where you are until you are willing to let go of those feelings, or at least admit that they are there. So, that's just the way life works. It's going to keep on throwing you curveballs until you realize life is not going to change. I can't wait for things to change in the way that I want them to. I have to change.
Okay.
And
It's
unfortunately, when it comes to having a fixed mindset, once we take that step, it's only when it really hurts. Once you get to a place where it really, really hurts, it's when we take the step to say, okay, now it's time for me to make a change.
oh, this is applicable for everyone who they get hurt really deeply first, and they can start moving forward, or is that for some people? Or
For me, but what I have realized and what I've seen, this is the way life works. This is just part of
Ah,
the
yeah.
human experience. We all go through it.
Hmm. Yeah. I think it's also related with the experience that I just had, recently about, I knew the concept about growth mindset. I wanted to change, but in what way? You know what I mean? How can I start doing the things to actually help me improve myself, to help myself to grow? And then all of a sudden something happened really deeply, and then it changed completely my life because of that very hurt and hard situation. I mean, darkest place, I can tell. It's not only darkest, but it's really, really dark moment. So every person has this experience to make themselves growing. But I think also on the other side, that some people don't take responsibility of that. Instead, they're actually blaming others because
Yeah,
of that person. I am into the really dark place.
that's true. And that simply means that you keep yourself stuck in a fixed mindset. So you cannot grow and you cannot mature because you're not yet willing to take responsibility for the part that you're playing.
Hmm, interesting. So I'm curious now. How do you handle resistance or skepticism from, for example, your teams, your client, your personal experience, or maybe hesitant to embrace the agile methodologies?
If people are not ready to change, you cannot make them change. I mean, that's just the way it is. I cannot change other people. What I can do is influence them. And what I usually do is people that are reluctant towards this is just give them small challenges. I'll be like, okay, okay, I get
Mhm.
what you're saying. Maybe this seems far out to you, this whole way of approaching a problem or managing projects. So let's take a small step. Let's do one challenge, see what the result is. Let's experiment with this a little bit in a small area or a small field that you feel comfortable with. We come back to the table within a week or two and we discuss what happened, what went well, what didn't went so well, and we compare notes and we see what happens. So it's about experimenting and giving people just a little bit of a challenge out of their comfort zones until they can see the results. Because with an agile mindset or working the agile way, what we want to do is we want to get results, we want to get things done, and we want to add value. At the end of the day, it's about adding value.
Hmm. So how can we start adding value into our self life?
Where do you want to add value? Where do you
Hmm.
want to be valuable?
Right.
For me, my closest or the most important part of my life is my relationships. That is where I take the biggest care. That's the most important thing for me. So if it was me and I was reluctant towards an agile mindset or doing the things the agile way, um, or just in general trying it out, I would start with my relationships because that's where I really want to add value is in the relationships in my life.
Hmm. It depends on the person. Where do you want to add the value,
Yes,
and how you start to take the action and practice it.
yes.
Hmm. Okay. And what is your approach to agile leadership or team empowerment? And again, about encouragement also in here, to people who are already in the growth mindset. Sometimes Well, most of the time, of course, life, it's always a lot of challenges in life. And how do you approach to agile leadership and team empowerment?
So for me, the most rewarding and beautiful thing about Agile is the whole idea of servant leadership. So leading by serving. And that is how I personally want to encourage people is I want to serve. And hopefully being able to influence and awaken that in other people is leading by serving. So being there to serve your people, serve your team, serve your relationships, and that's how you lead.
So again, it coming back to the influence people,
Yes.
leading
By
um,
example.
by example, leading by serving.
Yes.
Because it's leading by, you can do that, you can do whatever. Oh, here you have to do that, you have to do that. I think it's easiest because it comes from our mouth, and then you have to do that. But if we are not influence other, or we not serve them, I think people not gonna follow that leader.
That's very true. So for me, servant leaderships, it means that you understand your people. You really take that step forward to understand where they're coming from. As an individual, what is it that, what strengths are they bringing to the team? What are they struggling with? And how are you able to support them through what they're challenging with? And that is what it boils down to, having the curiosity and the heart to really understand your people.
We have to also really understand our people. Okay. um Ellen, um we have a lot in life, and sometimes life is life, right? We also cannot change people if they don't want to get help.
Yeah.
And as a life coach, and you know a person who working in the personal development and personal growth, have you ever have any experience or really big challenges in your life that make you who you are now? Transform from the you before into the you now. What kind of experience that can we can get inspired from you? I want to know what experience that bring you who you are now.
There's been a lot. I almost want to say it, life itself, because it's really been challenging. And for me personally, I had to work hard to for me to be where I am right now. And the biggest thing I want to say is having those moments where life really just gives you a difficult card to play and finding out ways to play that card. So you stop playing the people around you or the guy next to you or just that card, finding ways to make it work and seeing that as a challenge. So for me, getting to a place where I know when things are going sideways or I'm going through a difficult stage, and I get this feeling of, yes, I'm leveling up. Things are getting a little bit uncomfortable. And when things are uncomfortable, this is my cue. I'm leveling up. And at a certain stage, you just get to a place where you feel, but my life is too comfortable now. I want to shake things up a bit because you realize if things are uncomfortable, you are growing. So If I look around me and I see that my life is in chaos, I'm thinking, great, I'm growing. The moment things seem to settle down, that's when I need to shake it up a bit. So, seeing each and every experience as an experience, an opportunity, and not as good as a good thing or a bad thing, just experience.
Oh, I love this. You know, it's just experience the chaos, the hard part situation, the darkest moment. It's actually part of life that we
Yes,
cannot run away from it. Also,
no, it's
right?
there, and it's your little piece of gold that's waiting to be uncovered.
Mm, okay. Um, Talking about the ADHD that you mentioned earlier, um, what is one piece advice that you would like to share to people out there who diagnose of age ADHD, so they can stay and they can find the strength to live their life?
Focus on your strengths and find out what it is that makes you unique. Um, it's so easy to look at what it is that makes living life with ADHD difficult and what makes it challenging. So start focusing on the strengths. Start focusing on what it is that you have that is unique and what makes your it makes you think differently because it means that you bring a different perspective. And it's always great to have a different perspective. If it is in a relationship, if it is in a working environment, when it comes to a team, to have somebody with a different perspective that has the ability to see things from a different light, that's a strength that you bring to the table. So don't be afraid to speak up about what's going on in your weird little head because it's going to add value.
Don't be afraid to speak up. Okay, wow. I think this is also very insightful for myself, to not afraid to speak up. Because sometimes there is an ego, you know what I mean? Like, ooh, you don't need, it's, perhaps people are gonna think that you are stupid, this kind of limiting beliefs that actually stopping for, I can tell myself to speak up about how I feel. And in terms of relationship, most of the time I can tell it's so hard to express the feeling to others, but instead of focusing on the ego because of that person, you make me feeling miserable.
Yes. And that is coming back once again to the whole agile way of working.
Mm,
Transparency is so important. So, if you want to succeed in what it is that you're doing within your project, transparency is key. So, if you are adapting this mindset in a relationship, for instance, transparency is key. So, if you want to speak up, maybe in a relationship and you are afraid, it's okay to say, listen, there's something that's going on inside of me. I want to talk, but I'm not sure about how my message is going to come across. But take the step and at least try to explain what you are going through or what you are feeling. For any relationship to work, transparency is key.
mm. I think this is also beautiful. Transparency is the key for all of you guys who's listening or watching this video. I think don't be don't be scared again, like you just given that advice for us to speak up and be transparent about what we are having in our feeling.
Yes. I mean, what's going to happen is you're going to get some feedback
Hmm.
and you can use the feedback moving forward. and
Right.
it's something that you practice. It's just something, the more we keep doing it, the more we practice to say how we feel, to be transparent, the easier it becomes because the more feedback we're going to receive.
Hmm.
It's about doing and keep on doing.
I love this one. All right. Um, I think that's good. So I also curious about what does that success means for you in this in the case because people are focusing on the I want to be successful. I want to be that, so I'm successful. So what does that mean success for you in your case?
Oh, that's really a good question. For me, success means to keep on challenging myself, to never stop, and to make sure that at least in one area of my life, I'm constantly out of the comfort zone. So that is what it means for me to be successful, because that's the only way that I know I'm still growing.
Beautiful. Wow. Thank you very much, Ellen, for your insight. I learned a lot from this discussion, and I hope for all of you guys who's watching this video too, we get the value from our discussion with Elaine and about agile mindset and the diagnose about ADHD and stuff like that, the transparency, and especially the leading by surfing. And yeah, thank you very much for your insight, Ellen. I
Okay.
personally, again, learned quite a lot in this discussion and hope we can have another discussion next. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Uni. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And it is actually my pleasure. And yes, thank you for all of you guys who's watching this video. And bye bye.
Bye.